Welcome friends, it's Ray. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today's video, I'm making cards with the Hero Arts monthly card kit for January. And I am going to save the unboxing until the end, so go there if you'd like to see it. Card number one is a slimline flat shaker card. And there is a lot going on in this card. I first stamped my branch in Cup of Joe ink and some root beer, and then brought in my grape slush to stamp the solid vines, and now splash ink to stamp the layer. Here I'm using the Hero Arts Infinity dies, the ovals, and this oval is 3 3/4 by 4.5 inches wide, and I'm going to place it off the left edge and then die cut. I have placed the Pebbles image cluster from the stamp set onto an acrylic block. I tested it with VersaFine. That was too dark for what I want, so I brought out my Distress Oxide Black Soot, and that's what I'm using here. This stamp is very forgiving, the cluster. I stamped on top of other stamping, and it makes it look as though I have second generation stamping, and that's what I was going for. I have placed my white panel on top of my purple mat just to kind of get an idea of where my shaker window will show, and just randomly adding some glue dots or glue, liquid adhesive, and placing some of the hearts from this Prima marketing set onto my panel. Once I have all of those affixed and that dries, I am going to trim down. This is my shaker window, and trim that down. I had placed some tick marks there with my pencil, but turns out I didn't really need those. So I trimmed that down to 3 1/4 by 6 1/8. And now I am bringing in just some clear acetate from one of the stamp packages and trimming that down. I erased those lines I had made with my pencil. And now I flip this over and I'm adding some double-sided tape to the back on all sides. I removed the release paper from all 3 sides except the top side. Next, I will place my panel face down onto my acetate and bring in all 3 of the sides after releasing the release tape. I did miter the corners and am adding a little more double-sided tape to the top of that cellophane in the corners just to make sure I've got a really good fit. I want to make sure it's snug, and voila, now I can fill my shaker window. I pull out my iridescent gems by Prima Marketing. This is the Sun, Moon, and Stars pack, and I put some more of the hearts in and some stars and just a few of the moons, and bringing in my Moxie Chunky Glitter and adding just a little bit of that. I want to keep this, I want to keep the bulk down for this card. Next, I remove the release paper from the top and will fold that down, make sure I have a tight fit, trim off the corners just a bit there, making sure not to cut any of the cellophane or the acetate. And now I'm placing this in my MISTI, placing my white panel on top to figure out, sorry, that's a little off camera there, but I want to figure out where I want to place my sentiment. And so once that's done, I will remove my white panel. So I will pick up my MISTI, pick up the stamp with the door of my MISTI. I am using Stays On cotton white ink. This is a dye ink, and will stamp directly on my acetate. Love this. So I'm going to take this out of my MISTI, and I am going to apply some 1/4 inch double-sided tape to the top, the right, and the bottom of my shaker panel. And I lost a little bit of footage because I actually do add some liquid adhesive to the back side of my white panel, just around the curve of the oval, so that everything sticks down. And then I stand that up on the left edge before committing this, just so I get the best left edge alignment possible. So that's what I'm doing here. So after that all adheres, I am bringing in some double-sided tape just to meet where my shaker window starts, or ends, I should say, so that I have everything on the back panel at the same level. Next, I bring in my vine branch and will affix that with liquid adhesive directly to the front of my panel, right above my oval. After that adheres, I will turn this over and trim off that left part of the branch, making sure not to cut my acetate. Then I will bring in my pair of girls. These are from the Hero Arts Unity collection. And I have had them for quite a spell, and definitely wanted to bring them in here as I make this card for a friend of mine. And we've been friends since we were 10 years old, so I thought this was very fitting. And so here I have placed some double-sided tape on the back of my shaker window, um, and an extra strip in the center, and then I will do remove the release, partially remove the release, place this on my purple mat. Oh, I love this, love this. I added double-sided tape to my purple mat, the back of my purple mat, and placed this onto my card base. To finish this card, I am applying 3 drops of Nuvo Liquid Mercury, and I love the way this card turned out. I believe this is my favorite card, but let me know in the comments which of the 5 is your favorite. Card number 2 is an A2 card, and I've cut out that beautiful cover plate, and using some Hero Arts cranberry cardstock. I'm using some gold Delicata re-inker and added some water. It's decided to put it in my splatter box so I don't mess up my table, which I have done before. But look at that beautiful gold. So just splattering that onto my card front, or my cover plate front. I placed my the keyhole center in my MISTI, and using my grid paper lined up my sentiment hello heart with the heart, and prep for heat embossing with some anti-static powder, bringing in my Versamark ink, stamping that a couple of times, using my dry eraser to get a good impression. And we'll use some Hero Arts gold embossing powder to heat set that sentiment. I also applied or cut out 4 of the hearts using that same keyhole or key die, 4 of those hearts, and of course 1 with the keyhole, so a total of 5 hearts. Heat embossed those with the same gold embossing powder. Heat embossed my key, and so now I'm placing those hearts onto my cover plate because they are the exact same size as those hearts on the cover plate. I placed an acrylic block on top and then cut some acetate to put behind my panel. Sorry, I'm a bit off frame here, but am applying some double-sided tape to the back of my cover plate before I affix my acetate. And you guessed it, yes, I'm making a shaker card. So just butting that tape up against each piece, um, and then releasing the release paper, and then I will place my acetate on top of my tape, but behind or on the back side of my cover plate panel. Next, I will bring in my foam tape, and really like this. Just recently purchased it from Amazon, and am loving it because it's not too thick or dense. It is, and it's easy to fold and cut. And so I want to make sure that I have no openings around where I will put my shaker bits because I don't want anything to come out of any of the sides. And now I'm adding foam tape just to finish off the panel and making sure it's going to be level. I've added some anti-static powder so my sequins hopefully will flow freely, and bringing in some of those shaker bits yeah, shaker bits from the kit, placing a few on the keyhole, the inside keyhole, and then and gluing those down, and then I will bring or place a few more of those inside of my shaker window. But first I will release all of the release paper, and then we'll put those shaker bits in, and then I can apply a piece of acetate to the back um, of my shaker window to secure everything. Once my backer acetate is applied, then I can add some double-sided tape to the back of the entire panel, and placed my inside keyhole on the inside and double-sided tape on top of that. And then I will place this entire panel onto my card base. Love the way it turned out. And lastly, I will add my gold key to the front of this panel using some liquid adhesive. Lovely, lovely. So, this past summer,
I was out back and I colored a lot of alcohol ink panels. So this is alcohol ink.
The alcohol inks I used were eggplant, villainous pearl, and turquoise. I have trimmed my panel down to 3 1/8 by 7 5/8. And then I'm bringing in some gunmetal mixative alcohol ink and just liberally applying that throughout the panel in little squiggles. And now I am going to blot the excess off with a paper towel. And then I will set that aside to finish drying. I've affixed a keyhole to the front panel and am placing my sentiment that was heat embossed with Hero Arts silver embossing powder. Place that on my panel, turning it over, and we'll just trim off the end. And then I will bring in 3 keys, 2 silver and 1 navy, that I have cut out twice in white and mounted these the silver and the navy on top to add dimension. So now I'm placing these on the front of my panel and with some tacky glue, and then we'll bring in some of the hearts from the Prima Marketing sequin pack, as well as one of the hearts, the navy hearts that came from the key itself. Um, and I've placed that on my panel. And then I will just finish this up, placing double-sided tape on the back of my panel, and will affix this to my navy mat. Then my navy mat, I'll affix it to a silver mat, and then place this on my card base. Cards numbers 4 and 5 are such easy cards. I love the Z-fold technique. And I have just taken a regular A2 card base that was already folded, and then taken the front panel and folded it in half, or scored it at 2 1/8 and folded it in half. And that's the Z fold. Just that simple. I've seen a lot of Stampin' Up! Demonstrators use this layout, and decided I wanted to give it a try. And here I am taking Hero Arts Bold Prints Love is Love background stamp and stamping that onto Hero Arts Nautical Blue cardstock, and prepped it for heat embossing with my anti-static powder, and have applied some Hero Arts silver embossing powder, and am heat embossing that. And I do the same for both cards, but with card number 5 I do use the Hero Arts Bold Prints Buffalo Check, and that's another beautiful background stamp. I'm using a piece of Post-it note tape to and my grid mat to line up and place that post-it note tape on the back panel where I want it, and we'll also place some scrap paper on top because I don't want to get any ink on the left side of that post-it note tape. So then I'm going to place my background stamp in my MISTI using some acetate underneath so that I don't transfer any prior color. And so I place that in my MISTI, and we'll stamp that right edge of my card base. I have also stamped the swing on that back panel or card base, and we'll stamp the matching binds for the swing. I'm just going to use the top layer. I just want this to be more of a blurred effect, not too intense. Next, I'm bringing in a rectangle that I will use on the front of my card, and I'm stamping my sentiment with clear embossing powder, and then I will use clear embossing ink, and I will use some Brutus Monroe Alabaster White embossing powder to heat set that. Next, I apply liquid adhesive to the back of my tree branch and place that on top of my focal panel. And then I cut that same piece out of blue cardstock and we'll use that as a backing so that white does not show through. And here I am going to just trim a sliver off of my embossed background stamp, and then I'm going to cut that down to 2 by 5 3/8. I'm going to cut that same measurement twice, one for the front panel and one for the inside panel. I'm going to go ahead and put some tape runner on the back of these panels and go ahead and place them on my card base. So next I close my card front just to get an idea of where I want to place my focal panel. I want to cover the swing, and then so once I figured that out, I'm going to place some liquid adhesive just on the left side of my panel, because that's the only place where I want adhesive so that this can open and close the way it should. After affixing that, I want to apply some pressure with an acrylic block, and once that is done, trim off just that piece of the branch that extended beyond the left side and clean that up with my rubber eraser. Next, I'm going to use some of the Elizabeth Craft Designs silver glitter peel-offs to apply or add embellishments to the front of this card. Love the silver and blue or navy combination. And then I'm going to bring in a silver heart that I die cut from the key in the kit, and we'll place that on the front next to my sentiment. And that finishes off this card. Love the way cards 4 and 5 turned out. Very pretty. Now let's take a look at all of the cards I made in today's video. If you're interested in seeing the kit's unboxing, please stay tuned. Now let's do a quick unboxing of the kit.
And of course, the kit comes with a 6x8 stamp set. This here. And, oh, that's pretty. So there's a layering tree with vines. And then some hanging vines or vertical vines, for lack of a better term, and then a swing and some cobbly, steppy looking things. I think those are cobblestones. And then there is a tuft of grass and lots of sentiments. And the kit comes in this mesh bag. Everything fits in here. Let's see what else. Oh, and then we have, let's move the stamp set aside. We have this nice color plate with a keyhole. It's very ornate. And then there is the border die to cut that out. And there's a swing and the fancy die, key die. Oh, that's really pretty. And then the vine cut out for the vine tree, and then the vertical vines. Lovely. And we do get some ink this month. See, we get 4 of the mini ink cubes. Nice. Let's take a look at the colors. Okay, green apple. Oh, let's see, it is secure. Okay, green apple. And then key lime fizz. I've gotten that in a kit before, so I think I have a couple of cubes of that. Just blend that together. See, ooh, I like the blend also. Cup of Joe, or cup of Joe. It's a brown, and then we get taffy. So these greens are reactive with water. Cup of Joe is a dye ink, and then this taffy is reactive with water. Geez, I am having... Oh, pretty. So those are the 4... Let me wipe my hands here. Those are the 4 ink colors we get this month, and then we also get some iridescent red gems that are gonna make some cutesy Valentine's cards for sure. So I wanted to die cut the cover plate, and this is the border that you can use also, but here I just used the cover plate, and it does partially cut by itself, so you could remove that part, the outer part, if you chose. And I use 65-pound paper. I would ordinarily do this out of 100 or 110 pound, so, or even 120. So that is what I will do. I was just testing it out here and wanted you to see it. And so this keyhole part comes out. Again, there are score marks, so you could take this out.
As always, thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, good day, friends.